Hey, what's going on, family? Hey, all right. It's been a while. I've been having some family stuff I had to, take care of, so I hadn't been as active as I like to be on social media. But I just want to come in, say what's going on, check on the family, see how everybody's doing. So, with that being said, of course, I put out a video. I don't know, maybe a week or two ago, and I found it very interesting of people's response to one how a lot of people compact themselves into one type of diet or one type of mindset. It's not just diet, one type of mindset, one type of lifestyle. And anybody who doesn't do that lifestyle, you're wrong. And I get it. Okay, where I come from, it's called get down or lay down. Okay, so if you don't roll with us, everything you do is wrong. And this is applied to Christianity, or I'm not gonna say just Christianity. I'm sorry, Christians, excuse me. This is religion across the board in many cases, not all, but in many cases. If you're not my religion, then you're going to hell. Okay, or in many cases, not everybody thinks like this. Okay, I don't want to generalize, but I noticed that in many cases, this is what happens with everything we do. Many people I see this in the medical field, okay? RNs and nurse practitioners and all of these other people, okay? Yes, was it in your blood your blood poop in your blood post? Yes. I noticed that so many people who are they're only focused, or they're only learned in one specific area. It was in that post. And because they don't or haven't heard it before, or because they don't understand it, it's wrong. And like I said, I made another post talking about how this happens not only in health, okay, because the Western philosophy is taught one way, Eastern philosophy is taught the total opposite. And what many people, and a lot of you, I'm about to get real on you now, okay? Because a lot of you all have realized what I'm talking about when you go to the doctor. Because when you go to the doctor, many cases, the doctor talks over your head. The doctor mentions these big $1,000 words, okay, that are, 16, just crazy, 16 letters long. And you're like, what is that? I don't understand that. The doctor is saying things to you, for one, and this is just me. I'm a little bit of a conspiracy theorist. I'll be honest, okay? Judge me all you want. But a lot of these times, I really think this is because they want to keep you confused. Because if you're confused and you don't understand it, then guess what? You have to come to me. You have to come to me for my consulting. You have to come to me to actually get my opinion on what medicine you should be taking, okay? So at the end of the day, when I come with the video, kind of like what I did earlier, which we're talking about the poop in your blood, okay? And I keep it very simple. All of the intellectuals who went to nursing school, or who went to, which I'm not talking about my nurses, but I just really think it's weird that, you're going to, I don't know, I'm not going to get on that. But all of the people who went to nursing school and doctor school and, in the medical field, period, because I keep it very simple. I make these things simple so that my clients and that my people who are listening and watching these videos understand it. Because doctors and nurses and everybody else, in many cases, are talking over the average person's head. So when they bring that stuff to me, first of all, I get it and I understand it. Second of all, I always tell people, if you can't break it down, if you can't make a 2-year-old understand it, then you don't really know what you're talking about. And in many cases, these people who are these intellectuals, when they come in, that's exactly what's happening. They don't know how to explain it. They don't know how to dumb it down. So when I say something like, hey, when you eat foods, okay, and this went over the intellectual head, when you eat foods that are slower in digestion, okay, like meats, processed crackers, cookies, anything that sits on the shelf longer than anything else, most of your food should be going bad within about 2 to 3 weeks, okay? If it's not, then 9 times out of 10 it's a processed food. Now, I know nuts and seeds, things like that, they don't apply to that rule, but many things that are boxed up and are, processed, these foods slow down digestion. So if we eat food that slows down your digestive process, and you don't poop it out, because in many cases, you don't poop as often as you should. Many people don't. If you eat 3 times a day, guess what? You should poop 3 times a day. Now, guess what? I can almost guarantee you every nurse, every doctor who came on that post and didn't understand, I can guarantee you they are not pooping as much as they should be pooping. Okay, so let's keep it, I'm keeping it simple. So if you're not pooping, if you're eating 3 times a day and you're not pooping 3 times a day, then guess what? We have slowed digestion. Okay, there's a slow digestive process. Okay, average digestion takes 4 hours. Okay, if it's not going in, digesting, and pooping out within about 4 hours, that's a likelihood that you're slowing it down. What happens is this compounds. Okay, and this is why I'm doing a class on this. All right, I got a class coming real soon. Actually, this Thursday we're gonna do a class on this, and I'm gonna break it down. And I'm hoping some of those intellectuals show up, because I'm going to teach you all how to actually do this and make it simple. Okay, stop talking about all these big words that confuses most people, or that you don't even know. In many cases, you're saying this just because you're regurgitating something you heard. Okay, so let's finish the process. Okay, so you're eating processed foods that that slow down the digestive process. You're not pooping 3 times a day, but you're eating 3 times a day in many cases. Okay, none of this, what I'm saying, is generalized. This is just in many cases. And what happens is the food packs into your digestive system over time. So if you're slowing it down every day, every week, every month, every year, what happens is over time, okay, and I work hand in hand with some gut doctors who have told me stories about them having to pump people's stomach who have had food packed and lodged into their intestines, and they had to pump the stomach. Okay, 1. So what happens is, in our little digestive systems, okay, you got 30 feet of digestion, or of a digestive system of intestines. In our 30 feet, what happens is over time it packs, and we have these little things called villi, okay, in the intestines, that actually are used to actually push nutrients from the food into the blood. Okay, this is how you actually get nutrients out of the food into your bloodstream, so that it can circulate it through all of your organs, your brain, etc., etc. Okay, now we got to know, just common sense tells us, if these villi that allow nutrients into the bloodstream, if this villi and these intestines that have this villi get compacted or packed with waste, okay, because many people say, oh, it's just waste in the blood, it's not poop. What the hell is poop? It's waste. If it didn't come out of your butt and go into the actual toilet, it's poop, waste, plaque, mucus. It pissed me off almost, because it's like, it's the same thing. But what people just heard is the simple thing of poop, which I wanted to get your attention. But it's the same thing, people. Okay, so what happens, we're gonna keep breaking this thing down. What happens is, of course, you have this intestine, or this intestinal tract, that holds this waste or this poop, liquid manure, in its intestines, because you aren't pooping it out. And what happens is, this same villi that allows that nutrients into the blood, this packed poop that's in that area, in that intestines, also is allowed into that villi slowly, okay? And it gets in. Now, the doctor's going to tell you, or the intellectuals, I just like to say that, the intellectuals are going to tell you, hey, you know, that's, you know, I heard people say things like, oh, plaque is poop, which I agree with that. It's true. But that's part of where it comes from. But they're like, oh, well, plaque is bacteria's poop. That's what happens. Okay. Oh, okay. Got you. So it's true. That's still poop in your blood. All right, people. So it just kind of, it was pissing me off, because first of all, these intellectuals that went to these Western society schools are lost. Okay. And this is why, when you go to the doctor, many of you all been to the doctor. When you go to the doctor, this is why many of them don't actually have an answer for you. Most people actually come to me before they go to the doctor, because they're like, you're going to help me more than they are. And I know that's sad. And I'm not talking about any of my nurses or any doctors, because I personally work with doctors. Okay. They're my friends. A lot of them, I work with them. So I'm not necessarily talking about anybody, but I just want to say that many intellectuals, first of all, they need to stay in their place. Okay. Because when you come into my realm, I will run circles around your ass in many cases. Secondly, you have to, and this is for anybody, you have to keep an open mind in many cases, because A degree, a certain status does not qualify you to exclude anything else that doesn't surround or doesn't sound similar to what you've learned. Because in many cases, especially in schools, okay, these books are very outdated. All right. So let's just be honest. A lot of people are learning things that maybe are outdated, or maybe they I've had professors come to me, okay, who don't know half this stuff. So you're learning from a professor who's also coming to me. So a lot of this stuff, I know it doesn't make sense because it's not in your books. It's not in your textbooks. This is something you got to go elsewhere to get, okay? And what really pissed me off is because most of you all know I'm a student of Dr. Sebi, but not just Dr. Sebi, but more especially Dr. Llaila Afrika, okay? I've sat under that man many of times and personally learned from him. So when they tell me that this man who has helped thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of people, when they tell me that the information that he taught me is wrong, it pisses me off in a big way, really. So I get it. You know, many people, like I said, when they hear something that doesn't make sense to them, or that they can't wrap their little brains around because it wasn't in their textbook, I get it. They're gonna write it off. Hey, I got a master's degree, and you're wrong because it wasn't in my master's. You know, it wasn't part of my curriculum in my master's degree. I get that, but many of you all have to keep an open mind. All right, I'm gonna go through some of these questions. I know some of y'all got some questions, so let me see. And I'm hoping somebody came in. Ain't that the truth? That's right. They want to keep people sick so that they can continue to get the money from Big Pharma. Ooh, woo. Ain't that right? All right. That is the absolute truth. All facts. So that in itself, I mean, it's crazy. Let's go down, see what else we got. Say it again for the people who think they know everything. Yes, that, I mean, I'm telling y'all, that really, I mean, irks me. It really does. So that in itself has been just one of the worst. Oh, I think we got cut off. We sure did. There we go. All right, I was paused for a minute there. But yeah, it really irks me. I will say that. It really does. Let's see what else we got. Low frequency foods. Yeah, I know, right? There we go. Gastrointestinal homeostasis. Thank you. All right. Now, I'm glad you said that, because when we're dealing with gastrointestinal homeostasis, who knows what that means, right? Like the average person is what I'm saying. Who knows what that means, right? Now, of course, if you studied this, of course you would know what this is, but many people don't know what that means. And these are the same things that I'm talking about. Doctors, you know, or nurses or nurse practitioners or whomever, they're saying things that are going over people's heads, okay? And it's confusing people. So this is why people a lot of times come to people like me for help, because they're like, you're going to tell it to me in layman terms, or you're going to break it down so I can understand it. Because, you know, I don't want to be talked to, you know, like a doctor would normally talk to me. I don't want to be, you know, don't talk all of that over my head type of stuff. And, you know, I won't understand it. I'll have to come back. I'll have to get medicine because I don't get it. So, or they cut their bowels open. Ooh, facts. Yes, I have heard people of having their intestines cut, and they cut it and then they sew it back together, so they shrink it. I've heard of all of that because, like I said, a good friend of mine is an actual gut doctor. I have a couple other surgeons who are either general surgeons or orthopedic surgeons. They open the body, they get to see what's in there. Okay, so I'm not just saying this. I kind of know what's going on. So I don't know. I try not to allow these things to really bother me because I understand where they originate from. But, you know, it is a problem that we're dealing with, because these are, in many cases, these are people that, you know, general population are relying on. They're relying on you people to know this stuff and to be able to break it down in the simplest form. And the biggest problem is if you can't break it down or trace an issue back to its original state, then you can't help me heal from it, right? So if I have, in many cases, IBS, because I've had a lot of people with IBS. If I have IBS, in many cases, I need to be able to reverse engineer how you even got that. And many nurses and doctors, they usually can't. First of all, because if you are a nurse or a doctor, in many cases, nutrition is not in your curriculum, okay? So you don't even know to go to the curriculum of nutrition. You just go back to the curriculum they gave you, which is usually medication, because you practice medicine, right? So you have to know about which is needed. I'm not against it. Okay, if somebody say, do you agree with the Western society? Yes, because if you're eating like a Westerner, okay, did anybody see Trump? He ordered a bunch of McDonald's and a bunch of McDonald's and Burger King and pizza, and he had all this food set up for a White House visit. I think Clemson was coming, and he had all this. He said he had all this food. He said, "This is true American food here." So if you're truly eating an American diet, then you're going to need American practices, okay? You're going to need American health practices, which means you need the medication. You're going to need the Western doctors. You're going to need all of those things. I absolutely agree with that. You're going to need the flu shots and the vaccines. Yes, I absolutely agree with that, okay? So I'm not against it in any case, okay? I'm not against it. However, first of all, don't step to me in my naturopathic type of world. Don't step to me, okay, with your Western stuff, because it's a different ball game over here. All right, it's a different ball game, and I love it. I love it when I get these little nutritionists who are like freshly certified, probably just, I don't know, probably work with like their 10th client for, they're celebrating their 10th client. They're like, I'm a nutritionist. I say, hey, so am I, okay? And I've worked with 1,500 people plus, and I work with doctors, and I got 13 years experience. You ain't talking to nobody who's just, I'm not just some Instagram, idiot who's just rambling off stuff. In many cases, that's what people take. That's what they think. So, I don't know. I just felt like I wanted to come, one, vent a little bit, but two, I wanted to, elaborate on some of that. And I'm going even deeper. We're going to go deeper in the class. So be looking for the link. I haven't posted it yet, but it'll be a link in my bio if you want to join that class and learn more, whether you're a nutritionist, whether you're a trainer, whether you're a coach, or whether you just want to get rid of the liquid poop yourself. I got you, okay? Come on into that class. We're going to go deeper in. And I'm going to have the PowerPoint laid out and all that good stuff, talking about what's going on, how to recognize things, and how to actually eat to get rid of this stuff. Because many people don't want poop in their mouth. They don't want poop in their esophagus, okay? Now, the first thing or the number one thing Dr. Afrika used to always tell me is, because he would ask people, like when people would come around, Dr. Afrika would say, hey, do you have a tongue scraper at home? Or, like, why are you, he would get mad too, because people didn't understand how simple it is to him. They didn't understand it. And he would go, why are you scraping your tongue from the plaque when the shit goes down your whole esophagus? And he would just snap on people, because Dr. Afrika, he has a short fuse because he's so smart, and it's very simple to him. So he expects you to understand it. I don't know if he expects you, but he expects people to at least get it. And he said, why are you scraping your tongue? You have to scrape your whole esophagus because the plaque goes all the way down. It's poop that's coming up while you sleep. And I would just laugh when he would do that. But that's exactly what it is, okay? She said, it still sounds like poop to me. Exactly, right? So, I don't know. Like I said, people are crazy. People are crazy. Let's see. Somebody mentioned something. Let me see. Oh man, people keep calling me. I don't know what's going on. That's just the nature of the game. A lot of people calling. But yeah, people, I don't know. People just don't understand it. Let's see. How about pooping 45 minutes to an hour post each meal? Yeah, that now. I mentioned that 4 hours is usually like the average time for many people, but it can be up as quick as 30 minutes. I've had people who eat fruit, which fruit goes through the liver, goes directly to the lower intestines, poop it out. Okay, so in many cases, sometimes you can poop 30 minutes, within 30 minutes of eating. It just depends on what you're eating. Okay, does it have enzymes to help the body break it down? Because of course, when you eat, the first process of digestion is in the mouth. Okay, enzyme amylase, the amylase enzyme, when you're chewing, is what comes out. Now, if you're eating the right foods, especially if you're eating live foods, okay, you're going to have enzymes in that food as well. This is what takes a banana from super green to black and gross looking within a week. It's the enzymes. The enzymes help break it down. This is also why we soak our nuts and seeds. Why? Because when you soak them, you get rid of the enzyme inhibitors, okay? And then, of course, it starts the enzymatic process. So your nuts will go bad after you soak them. They'll go bad in about a week or two. So you got to eat them, okay? They will start to get mold. They'll go bad, all those things. They'll start because the process of breaking it down has started. So you need enzymes. And it depends on, like I said, what food you're eating. Do they have enzymes? And that's going to determine how fast or how slow the digestive process is, okay? So he actually mentioned that if you're eating 3 times a day, you should poop. Yeah, you should be pooping 3 times a day. Sad but true, we treat a group of symptoms, not the problem. Facts. And I know a lot of you all are nurses. I even got some doctors who follow, who are supportive, and you get, you understand, and you had that open mind to say, let me learn a little bit more. And I've actually DM'd some of y'all, and we'll have conversations. Like some of the doctors that follow me here, we'll actually have conversations back and forth because if you've ever DM'd me, usually in many cases, I'll send you a walkie-talkie. And I've walkie-talkie back and forth with some of you doctors and some of you nurses, nurse practitioners, whatever, respiratory therapists. I know some of y'all like to get your actual titles out there. But yeah, we've had conversations about this stuff and we've gone back and forth, open dialogue, and I've explained it to them to the point where they're like, damn, I get it now. It makes sense. We're just talking in 2 different languages because, of course, in the medical world, there's a different language. It's a different, what do they call it? There's a different nomenclature. Okay, let's get into law. But yeah, it's a different language. So you have to know that language if you're going to talk with a doctor or a nurse. Most doctors, nurses, and staff I encounter are either overweight or obese. Facts. So that's another thing that bothers me when they come to me and try to call me out, which you can't call me out because I know what I'm talking about. But when they try to call me out, that's the first thing I do. I go and look and see, well, what are you looking like? For one. For two, even I'm not going to totally hold that against people because I realize everybody has their own journey. But who are you helping? Okay. Are you just writing prescriptions? In many cases, no, because most nurses can't. So are you just giving people prescriptions? Let me say that. Are you just typing and scanning something? Because that's what they do. All right, you pull it. They pull the medicine out. They scan it. Beep. This is the little medicine we're going to give you today, sir. Okay. So don't call me out if if you're not helping anybody. Okay. I'm actually helping people and proving and showing with over 1,500 people that this stuff works. Okay. And that we got a problem in the medical industry because they're not fixing it. Okay. So, oh man, you just said what I was about to say. Nubian Kiss. It's not profitable to treat the problem. Which is not. It's not. I'm just keep it real. It's not. So you're absolutely right there. It's not. Let me see what else we got. I'm behind. Medical school does not teach about nutrition. Facts. And I don't say these things. With that being said, I don't say these things just pulling a rabbit out the hat or just pulling it out of thin air. Like I tell people all the time, I actually work with these doctors and these surgeons, Harvard graduates. I'm working with these people, and that's the first thing they tell me. Hey, we taught nutrition. Okay, we don't really know much about nutrition because it's not a part of our curriculum. Okay, we're learned depending on what specialty they have. Okay, because some of them are orthopedic, some of them are general surgeons, some of them may be gut doctors. Okay, but based on what they're dealing with, even the gut doctors don't really study nutrition. Okay, they know what they can tell you all the ins and outs about the gut and which medications are going to do what, depending on where you need it to go. but they don't really study nutrition, and it's it's unfortunate. But I think a piece of me says, of course, they want to keep making money, and then another piece of me just says they ain't trying to update all these books, because it means I got to go in and relearn and reteach not only the doctors that are present, but I have to reteach the doctors who are coming up. So I don't know. It's crazy. Let's see what else we got. Gotta go. Love everything about you. I appreciate your family. Doctors don't know it all. It's just a trial and error because everybody's body is different. Facts. But yeah, family, I'm glad y'all came out. I know I'm on some of y'all's lunch break. Let's see. I took anatomy and physiology and medical terminology. Okay. To comprehend these things. Yeah. You're doing a great job. Help the people. Facts. Should we consume our height in inches to ounces of water? No, that's actually, in many cases, you pretty much said it, but in a lot of cases, many people actually suggest, or it's usually suggested, I don't want to say many people, it's suggested that you do half your weight in ounces of water, excuse me. So if you're 200 pounds, if I'm a 200-pound man, I should be drinking 100 ounces of water. Yes. However, I don't necessarily agree with all of the things that come out about fresh water, because a lot of times you can drink too much water, which flushes out nutrients. Okay, so if your urine is too clear, we might have a problem. It needs to have like a light tint. I don't have anything in here that's the color of the tint it needs to be, but it needs to be a very, very light tint. Almost clear, but very light tint, because if not, you may be peeing out nutrients. Okay. Yep, my uncle poop 30 minutes after every meal. Let's see what else we got. Should we consume? Oh, you were saying to eliminate the poop from the body. Actually, there's other ways to eliminate poop, which I'll really dive into during the class. One is fasting, and particular types of fast. How do we get started? Just DM me if you're looking for the link. I'm not finished with or my team is not finished with the link. I'll have them, or they're not finished with the page. I'll have them send me the link and I'll post it in my bio. Okay. When it's ready. How much Magic Moss Plus should we take a day? I usually take about, on most cases, 3 droplets. So a droplet is basically when you put it in and take all of it. Take all of it. That's one droplet. So the little thing is a droplet. So I'll take 3 of those a day. So sometimes I'll take it all 3 at once. Sometimes I'll take 4 and I'll do 2 and 2. 1 in the morning, 1 at night. It just depends. But I think it's safe to say 2 to 3 a day should get most people. I don't like to generalize. I'm not gonna say anybody, but it should get most people where they need to be. What do you think about enemas? I think enemas are great. I think enemas are great if you need them, especially, and it's less abrasive than you know what I'm getting at. Colon cleanses and all of that. The hydrocolon therapy, which they work. I'm not against. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but enemas are a little less abrasive than, all right, plugging you. But then you would be out of money. That's why we need you. It's facts. The gut is considered the primary brain. The actual brain is considered the second. The gut controls so many hormones released by the brain. That's what I'm talking about. You're right. Absolutely. And as a matter of fact, if you talk to an actual, like a holistic, somebody who knows what they're talking about when it comes to holistic health, they'll tell you that majority, like over 95%, and many people will just go out and say all diseases or all illnesses or all issues start in the gut, which I believe. I'm a big, I don't like to say I believe. I know. I like to say that I know that to be true, because most of your things do start, most of your issues, ailments do start in the gut. So yeah, what's your take on lupus? I'm not gonna get on that right now, just because I try not to overly generalize. And once again, I don't want to overly generalize this thing. Everybody with lupus, of course, lupus being the diagnosis, yes, I get it. But everybody with lupus may or will have a different route that they need to take that may, help to improve. Because I can't say, I don't want to get in trouble. I can't say some things. But to help improve the symptoms of lupus, there may be different routes that need to be taken. So I don't I usually don't get into too many things when it comes to like healing, not in public. Anyway, we'll say that. All right. Thanks for the clarification on the water consumption. Part of the question marks. All good. I keep getting ill, ear infection, bad stomach, now a cold. What vitamin can I take to help me build my immune system? That's a few things, actually. Number one, which once again, I don't like to overgeneralize, but when we're talking about immunity, when you're talking about our immune system, the number one thing you can take, or not the number one thing you can take, but one of the big or best things you can take is astragalus. It is a adapted astragalus, ashwagandha. There's a few other things, black cohosh. You can get into some other stuff, but I gotta see what you're eating. Okay, I gotta see what you're eating, because maybe it's not. Maybe it is an immune system issue, but you're also eating something else that aren't serving you correctly. Let's say that, okay? So you see, I got to be particular with what I say, because I don't want to overgeneralize, or I don't want to put everybody in this little box, okay? Kind of like I did with the lupus. Everybody with lupus doesn't have the same fix or the same need, okay? So same thing when it comes to the immune system. Are you eating something that's causing your immune system to do that? Are you, so. Family who says, where am I based? Or asks, where am I based? I am in Nashville, Tennessee, baby. All right. Born and raised, Nashville, Tennessee. Stand up. All right. If you haven't been to Nashville, you should come check it out. All right. It's a pretty nice city. But if any of you have any more questions, okay, I don't want to make this thing long. I just want to come in here and kind of vent. But not only that, just want to set the record straight for many of the people who are talking that ish, okay? Because I'm one of those people who I don't take that, okay? You're not going to come on my page with that negative energy, those negative vibes, and let that spread on my followers or my family, because I consider y'all family, on my family, okay? We keep it positive over here, no negativity, and we keep it helpful. So if you're not bringing helpful information, you gotta go, all right? So I'm taking 3 dropperfuls 3 times a day. Now, I'm not gonna say that's a bad thing, which is not. I mean, it's natural things. So it's like, if you were to eat, all of these vegetables, you're fine. But if it's working for you, I say that if it's working for you, then you're fine. So just let me know how that's working for you, because I'd like to know, because I wouldn't be against taking it 3 times a day either, because it's all good stuff. I'm now finding out I am gluten intolerant. Yeah, many of us are. Since I've been eating cleaner and making my own teas and doing my own research, I've been feeling better and noticing that my allergies are getting better. Yes, they will. Yes, they will. So, should we eat according to our ethnicity, for optimal health? I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna leave. Yes and no. Yes and no. In many cases, she said, "What are y'all taking?" Magic moss. That's what we're talking about. In many cases, I'm going to say yes. How many single men do you don't eat like you eat? Actually, I don't know many, unfortunately. But I'm working on that. But in many cases, yes, I'm going to say it is going to be based on your lineage. I don't necessarily like to do the whole blood type thing. I think it's based on your lineage, though. Because, of course, if I eat a vegan diet, then my child is going to already be vegan. Based on our, the epigenetics. Yeah, I would definitely believe in epigenetics. And I do also know to be true, I don't like to use believe, but I know to be true that when you talk about epigenetics, certain things are going to cause expressions. So a lot of times these genetics, based on epigenetics, these genetics lie dormant in us. And there's a certain situation or environment that has to happen in order to make them express. So you can already have diabetes, but if you don't give the diabetes the environment it needs to manifest, then that epigenetic of diabetes is not going to manifest, and it will just lay dormant in you. But if you give it the right environment, then you're going to get diabetes, okay? Because it's part of your genetics, so or epigenetics. So that's my whole thing on that. I need directions on healthy fats. I'm transitioning to vegan, but I've been losing weight, and of course, I want to keep my DHA build up. When it comes to healthy fats, man, I mean, you only got three food groups: nuts, seeds, and fruits, for the most part. So fruits are considered to be avocados, olives, things like that, nuts and seeds. When it comes to veganism, those are gonna be your fats, and then of course you can get into different ones. Olive oil, that's an oil, so you can get into a lot of that. But when you take ashwagandha powder, for example, at 7 p.m., how many hours can you take it again the next day? I would say you could take it probably within the next, I'd give it 4 to 6 hours, because like I said, you want to do the proper digestive period. So same thing, absorption. So you want to give it about a 4 to 6 hour absorption period, and then take it to the next one. So I'm gonna get out of here because I got some things to do. Of course, I gotta get ready for this class. Okay, so I'm gonna do some other things. But if you got any questions, hit me up in the DM. I'll get back to your question, or I'll get back to your DMs. Outside of that, I love y'all. All right, and keep it positive. That's all I got to say. Keep it positive. Help somebody. Each one teach one. That's what it's about. Outside of that, I'll holler at y'all soon. Peace.